very pleased to announce that Brendan has very kindly stepped forward and is ready to present his work and the stuff that he's been doing with content management solutions. Has been part of the user group for a number of years and has contributed several times at several events, and we're very appreciative of his continued contributions. He works at BDP, and I'll put the floor over to Brendan. Any Q&A, again, just stack them up and we'll pick them up either partway through or at the end of the session. Thank you.
All right, let me just sort the screen out. And can you see the presentation? Yeah.
Yep, that's great. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Oh, one before. So generally, I've been creating a document management sort of system in Dynamo, which I'm hoping to explain fully now. My background is structures generally with a lot of Dynamo now. Probably quite an experience now learning into C# and things, but I've started from nothing. What it is, it generally is more like a library. You can add templates to it, you can have your created scripts added to it, Python templates, and also your standard, if you've got a standard set. Then there's also a little bit that adds a little bit of an action on it, and it'll force all scripts to open in manual mode. This is more just, you sometimes get a script and it's in automatic and it runs and then it crashes your script or crashes Revit, Civils 3D, etc. So that's why that was added. Once you've got the add-on, there is some little bits of quirks in it that you have to worry about. One is there's unblocking that you have to do. This is more if you download it via the website or GitHub. If you do either of them, you will have to unblock the DLL for it to work. And the other one is if you get a config error, you will have to make sure that it has the Dynamo standards settings file within. If all that is there, then everything should work within Dynamo. Then on the settings file, you'll have, if you open it in Notepad++, you'll get this sort of arrangement on the right hand side, and it's kind of split into several different areas which all have to be filled in for it to work. If you don't put anything in, then it'll just give you an error, but it'll give you an error as in to say watch out, but it'll still work. And that is a case of, or it'll give you a message, but everything else will work, just that section won't work. The main sections are your PDF location that you'll need. You'll need where all your content is, if you have it in a central location, where your templates are, where your Python templates are, if you have any, and there's a setting that you need to change. And then within Dynamo, if you've looked at my previous Dynamo North presentation, I did some things about UIs and making things look good. If you have a look at that, it tells you all about the script information, color coding and that, which is a good base to have for this. And then the last bit is the graphic standards. This is more about the headlines of each of these sections within the script information. It's just a bit of mapping, I would put it as. And then one thing I noticed, well, got told, I think at the beginning of January, is someone had an and within the folders. So important note is you can't have hands in to this settings file. You will have to use this special character sort of thing. It is and AMP and then the thing at the end to replace that. If you don't do that, you will get errors. So just watch out for that. Then on this mapping file, how this works is it has a Dynamo version created by Revit version. Of course, your Revit version could be Civils 3D now, because Civils 3D 2020 now has Dynamo within. Then you've also got your script purpose and your required packages. So as long as you fill the main title into the settings file, when you load the content management, it should map fairly well. I've tried it a few times. It seems to work 99.9% of the times. But then in Dynamo 2.3, they've added some node library dependencies within your scripts. This is all behind the scenes, but this also saves required packages that have been used since Dynamo 2.3. That basically means if you open a script in 2.3, add packaging for, like a node from a package onto your script, it will automatically fill this in when you save. This is mainly used for something called a workspace dependency viewer and a workspace reference, which are all in Dynamo 2.4 and 2.5. They use a different name in each version. Then within the content management, you can get a library open. It's basically a window, and it can read your files. And the mapping of that is related back to the settings file. So if you set things up right, it will map things across. So the Dynamo version will go to the Dynamo area, Revit version to Revit version, etc. and etc. Also, the library will get all the files from a given folder. So once you've done that, that should load everything from your folder into the first section, the white section with all the tree. Once that's all done, then you can select a file, click extract details, and it'll read the data from the file. That is the main gist of how it works and what it was done for. But to get it, you have to either go to the Dynamo website, for the package website that is, or you can use the inbuilt search filter within Dynamo under the, I think it's the package area. Once you're there, you can do a search for Dynastandard, and it should be the only option there for you. If not, you can always get it on the GitHub page. So it's either or really. But if you do get it on the package website or the GitHub, you will have to unblock DLLs. This is it in action. So it'll give you a menu within Dynamo. You can select a few options. It'll give you access to the README if you need it. You can also go to the About page, which will give you some details. Then you can click on the Dynastandards if you've got a link to a PDF. You can have your standard loaded there. And then your library, this and your template. So of course you can open a template, but it opens it as a nude file. So you don't have to worry about overwriting anything. And of course, yeah. And then there's the Python side. So what you can do is you can just put a load of random Python nodes in, select, of course you have the standard, but then if you've got templates, you can also get it to automatically apply certain styles to it. So it'll automatically change them to your template. while not affecting others, depending on the options that you select. So of course you can select all and it'll just apply that style to, well, not style, template to every one within the file. And then of course you can apply it back to a set one if you have one. And then there's a couple of options. There's two options. You can either select it via this menu, select the one that it finds in a server somewhere, and then apply that to it. There's three different options, but then if we move it up to the content library, well, the template, yeah, the library first, so it automatically gives you, it automatically reads this directly from your folder structure. So as long as you have your folder structure right, your place right, it will add an extra option if it finds a folder. And then every file within that folder will come under that. And then of course, when you select a file, it will read the data from within the file. So you can have a preemptive look if it is the file that you want. It might not be, but it might be. Oops. And then once you've selected the file, extracted. Also, one thing to note is it says open a new graph. This is mainly if it finds that you're in Dynamo 2.0 or above, and you've got a previous version, it'll go. I'll best open this as a new version because Dynamo 2 changed how Dynamo files are saved. So then it'll just force it to be a new file opened. So it won't actually open the original. You can also tick this if you wanted. And it'll just open it, brand new file. No. Yep. And then there's the Python side, where you saw there was three options for the Python template. You can also tweak that down to option 2, option 3, or all of them, depending on your preference. And when you reload Dynamo, it'll change that accordingly. And then, of course, if you put it back to 1, it will be the drop-down menu choice for you. Yeah. So you'll just load them as all individual. So yeah. And that's that bit. Since all that, I've now learned to change things a bit. I've updated it. I've made changes behind the scenes because I want you to be able to reselect nodes. In case you might select 3 Python nodes, but you needed 4 out of the 10. Well, I've added that now. So I've made some new UIs and behind the scenes changes to allow that to work. Another addition in the new one is this force node. What you can do, you can tell it to force a rerun of certain nodes within your script if needed. So what you can do is if you apply a start force at the beginning of your node, rerun, it will automatically update that start node. So if you've got the date and time node, that will actually automatically update as you rerun the script, whereas previously it would run and not update. So this should help any rerunning of scripts not working. Of course, it is originally from John Pearson. He first posted about it, but I've made some changes to it. I made it usable for Civils 3D as well. because in Civils 3D you can now use Dynamo, and it also does it behind the scenes in my extension. There is two options for this. So if you want the extension to handle all this, you can basically turn that on from the Dynamo Force Rerun setting option. So if you turn that to on, add force on the beginning of the node, it will automatically update if needed. And then the Dynamo Python Rerun menu will add the options to apply the code onto your script for if you're passing it on to other parties. Just in case they don't have the add-on, they can still use that option if needed. And then, of course, if you press run, it will automatically update as you need. And this is just giving a quick example of the new UIs and how it will work. So of course, I'm just placing random standard Python nodes and going up and selecting the options. These are the new UIs. So if you watch the numbers on them, these will automatically update as we make changes to the script. So of course, we add extra nodes in, it will automatically update that there's more nodes within. You've selected different nodes, it will automatically update. So it remembers that. And then of course, it's a similar approach of selecting the node that you want, making the changes, selecting the different options for you. So, yeah. That is just basically that option. It's showing all of the two different options again, and that's the second UI. Fairly similar approach, but yeah, it just means it's a bit more dynamic for users, so it should help a lot more. Because I've had instances where I've had to close a window to reselect Python, whereas now you don't have to do that. Yeah. What I was hoping to do was release this in the next week or two, but last night I woke up to new Dynamo. So it's probably going to be a little bit later while I do some testing. So Dynamo Code 2.6 got released literally last night. So I'm going to do some testing with that first and then I'll release. There is report GitHub page and there is a forum post on the Dynamo forum for this. You can post issues on either area if you want. You don't have to, it's up to you. But just post it on one or the other and I should hopefully be able to pick it up. So my need to do list item for this is I need to just double check for Dynamo 2.6. And then I was gonna just quickly go through how to download the add-on. So I'm going to use Civils 3D because I don't have it already downloaded for Civils 3D. Let me just put Dynamo back on the screen. So in Civils 3D, you can now use Dynamo. Yes, I've been using it already. But if you come up to packages, go into search. Of course, it'll take a couple of minutes. You've got Dynastandard, and of course, it's the only one. You tell it to download, and it will install it. It will automatically add it, but the issue is you will get a config error. You will have to reload for that to work, and that is the error that it gives you. So if we quickly close that, reopen it, and then come back here, it is now working. So just a little tip, I just noticed that recently. So just watch out for that. And then I am going to use Dynamo 2.6. Just a pre-warning, some things may look different. So if I come to the force rerun, so of course, if I delete that for now, rerun, as you can see, gives us a current time, and you keep rerunning, it just will not work. But if I undo, come back to the force one, rerun, 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 and it will change the date. So if you have something that has to use this sort of node at the beginning, it will actually rerun again later without you having to close Dynamo and reopen. Something that's quite useful. And then, of course, on this little change for the rerun setting, of course, I've got it set to new at the moment. So if I close this, open a new file, as you can see, it automatically goes to manual mode. Oops, I'll sort that out in a minute. And then, of course, if you change that from new to all, save, and then, of course, we will rerun Dynamo. So using 2.6 at the moment, because it's the only one I've got downloaded at the moment on this machine. And then if I go new, so rerun, if I click automatic, and then just save it anywhere. So I'm just going to go there, close it, and then if I reopen that home, it's gone back to manual. So that should hopefully help to save you from opening a script that automatically runs and could break Revit, Civil 3D, etc. And then the other one, of course, is on the Python node. I'll have to go back to Civil 3D for this because it doesn't work in Sandbox. So, no, don't work in that one. Oops. Yeah, so what will happen is if I click rerun, of course, it'll tell me that it's not working because it's in Sandbox. But what it should do is automatically place a couple of nodes on here, which are Python, and they will control the behind the scenes running for the script to work when you come to force a rerun. Of course, that's how it should work. Joys of live demo, it seems. And back to the presentation. And that is actually all I have for you. And any questions, of course.
And another excellent presentation. A lot of this is probably certainly kind of the back end of it is a lot more advanced than a lot of people will probably ever get exposed to. My question, I may have missed it. The standard Python information or the boilerplate code that you're pushing in, where does that come from?
Is that the one for rerunning the nodes, or is this the templates?
The templates.
It all depends where you save them. If you save them on your server somewhere, it'll just pull them from there. It all depends on where you save them.
Is it just running from a text file, or is it XML?
No, it's a PY file. So
Okay.
if you create it could be a text file. you create in a text file and then you save it as a .py file, and then it'll read it as a Python file.
Okay, great.
Question from Thomas. Is there a way to copy only snippets from the Python samples into a Python node?
You could technically do it. I think what you would have to do is do some reselecting at the beginning to understand which parts you want, I think. What I would generally do is just do a Control-C, Control-V sort of thing, if you're copying it from one place to another.
I think kind of a clipboard would be lovely, where you could kind of drag and drop snippets of code and so just dump it into parts of your file. I think that'd be really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you again, Brendan, for that. That was excellent. While I manage my screen switching.